back with our favorites video. Jake, we talked about our incredible week last week in betting. Obviously, I was 6-0. I think you were 4-2 on the BroThrow picks. We're trying to match that energy again. We did the underdogs video. Now we're talking about our best bets on favorites. I'm going to let you start this one off with a game that you like. It's Michigan State at Rutgers. Rutgers is giving 4.5 points.
Yeah, last week in this video, in our favorites video, we combined went 6-0 on our 6 picks. So let's do it again. I know one of you out there DM me that you took a parlay of all 6 of our lines from that game, and it smashed $2,500 to $1,100. So shout out to you. I'm going to have to start parlaying all of our picks together too from this video. Let's see if we can go back to back 6-0. And it starts off with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights minus 4.5. Michigan State, since firing Mel Tucker, has played 3 games. They have 2 offensive touchdowns. They have given up, I don't even know, over 100 combined points in those 3 games. Rutgers, on the other hand, has lost 2 games on the season, both on the road at Wisconsin and at Michigan. This game is at home where they've been dominant. They've only given up 33 points combined in 4 home games on the season. They're a really solid defensive team, and they do just enough on offense to avoid mistakes and put some points up on the board. Michigan State is a complete dumpster fire since firing Mel Tucker. We've talked about it extensively on this show because, well, we've faded Michigan State every week since he's been fired. I think we're probably going to continue to do so in the future. The team is horrible. They completely quit on each other, on themselves, on the coaching staff. I just don't see any rule where Rutgers doesn't dominate this game. 4.5 is absurd. I would take 14 in this game.
14 is a lot of points. I don't think Rutgers is going to cover 14. It could happen. But, you know, Michigan State's coming off a bye week. And when you come off a bye, there's chances for you to figure some things out about this other team. And it's a chance for Michigan State's coaches to get their team energized, excited, and make them believe once again that they are not dog water. So I'm going to stay off the spread. If I was going to take anything, I'd probably take the total. I kind of like the over, thinking Michigan State could come out here with a good game plan and score a couple touchdowns. You know, anything could happen. So I'll probably lay off of it. But if I was going to take it, if I was going to take the spread or the total, I would do it on BroThrow, where you get plus 100 odds, where you can sign up for free from any state in the U.S. in the description box below, just brothrow.com/YouTube, and you'll be able to bet with no vig. Every bet, even money odds, money lines, better juice than you'll find anywhere out there. BroThrow beats out DraftKings, FanDuel, any sports book for odds, and obviously the no vig. So try it out if you haven't yet. Jake and I use it for all of our bets that we give you on here. Next up, Missouri is at Kentucky, and Kentucky is giving 2.5 points. Now, based on how bad they looked last week, I was honestly expecting Mizzou to be the favorite, but Vegas knows Kentucky's going to bounce back after an embarrassing loss, and now they get to do it at home at night in front of what I think is going to be a pretty riled up crowd, since this is a top 25 Kentucky team still, and Mizzou is borderline top 25. They're 5-1 and just came off a really tough loss at home against LSU. Now, I think these teams both have firepower, but I really like what Kentucky brings to the table at receiver and running back. And even though Mizzou's offense should be able to match, this total is telling me something else. It's pretty low, 51.5, which means they're not expecting Kentucky's defense to be as weak as what we saw from LSU last week. And if they aren't, I think Kentucky's going to be able to put up enough points to put this one down and put it away pretty early. There's nothing worse than having to go on the road for a top 25 game after you just lost one at home. Now, in some cases, that could lead to more motivation, but in others, it could tell you that this is a chance for them to lose back-to-back games. And when Missouri, who they haven't been hot that long, this is kind of the first time for Drinkwitz to get really good play out of his team. I just don't know if they have it in them to bounce back the way that some teams might in this spot. So I'm going to take the coaching staff I like more, which is Mark Stoops and the guys he's got. I'm going to take the quarterback that I trust more, which is Devin Leary, although he hasn't lived up to the hype yet this year. And I'm going to expect Kentucky to bounce back after a very, very embarrassing road loss last week and take it to Missouri at home this time around.
Yeah, this is a really interesting over-under, as you said. Missouri has scored at least 30 points in every single game except for one, which was against Middle Tennessee State. I'm counting that as an outlier game. And Kentucky's defense is very good, but the strength of their defense is their run D, and Missouri, their strength is their pass offense, led by Brady Cook, who's having an incredible season. I think that Kentucky's going to be able to put up points as well, so I really like the over in this game. Maybe that's an incredibly square pick, as you said, because this line is so low. It's almost concerning, but I think that Kentucky can get the job done because their defense is so strong. But if they do, I still think the game is going to go over. That seems to be the best play for me in this game.
What about Oregon, Washington? We're talking about overs. This one's set pretty high. The total is at 67. Last year, what did it get to? 71, I believe, or 61? 61. So, what do you like here? I know obviously you like Washington, but why?
Yeah, I'm riding Washington here. I also like the over here because I think there's going to be a ton of points scored. We saw Oregon's offense against Colorado. They can score pretty easily themselves. Washington has a better offense, in my opinion, led by Michael Penix Jr. He's the Heisman frontrunner. He's the best player in the country. He's an absolute gunslinger who I think to be able to match Oregon score for score and even excel it. This game is at Washington. You know their fans are going to get super hyped up. This is a game that could determine who makes it to the college football playoff even. I just think that Washington is an overall better, stronger, deeper team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. This could easily be a game where whoever has the ball last wins, but I'm betting on Michael Penix to get the job done. I just think that he is more clutch than Bo Nix. His receivers are better, and the defense is going to get enough clutch stops that I don't think Oregon's going to be able to match. So I'm riding Washington here. They're my favorite team in the country to bet on so far this season. I can't imagine not taking them in this spot in such a high-profile game. So I'm riding with the Huskies here.
Yeah, I mean, they're at home, so it's hard to blame you. But, Oregon's got a really good defensive coordinator. They've got a really good defense. They're balanced all across the board. They've got their own good quarterback, although I know Penix is one of the best in the country. My fear is that Bo Nix, in his last year, wants revenge. He couldn't get it done at home last year. They lost by 3. I really want to take Washington with you, but I just don't know what to do here. 3's a big enough spread that if I did want to take Washington, I would take a money line, to be honest. So I'm conflicted. I haven't made a decision yet. I want to take Washington, but I'm just going to stay away for now. I don't know. Too tough to call. This is going to be a really good game to watch, though. The best of the weekend for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I say that, and I don't want to speak too soon. It has competition. You've got USC at Notre Dame. USC's been a dangerous team to bet on this year because they don't have a defense. And now they're getting points, which is like, wow, USC underdogs, huh? My dad called me last week. He's a USC alum, and he likes to bet on USC as often as possible. He said, hey, USC should cover 21, right? I was like, what? 21? They're playing Arizona. He's like, yeah, Arizona sucks, right? Arizona damn near beat these guys last week. It went to triple overtime at home. They were at home and they couldn't win this in dominating fashion with a former Heisman winner. Come on. After playing Arizona, they've got to travel all the way across the country. And they're not getting a cushy Notre Dame team who feels good about themselves. They're getting a pissed off Notre Dame team who's lost, is it 2 out of their last 3? They just lost to Louisville, and they didn't lose on some close game situation. They got beat in every phase of the game. So SC usually crushes Notre Dame, but things are different. Hartman is the real deal. The offense runs it really well. What's his name? Audric Estime, really good running back. He's a closing running back. He's won games for him already this year. SC cannot stop anybody with their defense. Their offense had some issues last week, and I think Notre Dame's going to be able to capitalize on those issues this time around. So the football fan in me wants to take USC, but the better in me is saying that Notre Dame's going to bounce back. They're due to win this game at home, and I don't think they're going to lose 3 out of these last 4 because it's not an option for Marcus Freeman at this point. Marcus Freeman needs some proof, and this is a prove-it game.
This is such a huge game for Notre Dame. They choked the game against Ohio State. They had that game completely won, choked it at the last second. And as you said, last week they went out and got beat down by Louisville. Not necessarily beat down, but they got beat pretty handily. And you did have Louisville in your underdog picks last week. We had them against Duke and they covered that game. We had them against Ohio State. Technically, they covered that game. So feels like Notre Dame is one of the teams that we know pretty well. I cannot agree with you more. Love Notre Dame in this spot. USC's defense is complete Swiss cheese. They're going against one of the best running games in the country. Notre Dame's got one of the strongest offensive line units in the entire country. And Sam Hartman is a gunslinging quarterback who's going to be able to put up points, I think, at ease. Caleb Williams obviously is an incredible quarterback, but Notre Dame's defense is incredibly tough. They're able to hold Ohio State to only 17 points. And then I think at home at night, the fans are going to be super hyped up. This is a massive rivalry game, the battle for the jeweled shillelagh. I'm riding Notre Dame here. I just think that their team is, as you said, they're fired up. They're ready to play. And USC has not been impressive in against some games against Arizona State. Their defense is just too bad for me to take them in the spot.
Yeah, Notre Dame losing last week is making me bet on them this week, for being real. So hopefully we're right. This game is an interesting one. I love a pick. I'm not going to tell you which one. I'm going to let you tell me who you like first, although I know who you like first. It's a night game at Oregon State. They're the favorite against UCLA, who just, they almost let it slip away against Washington State when they should have won that game by 30. So what's your take here?
Yeah, UCLA was my favorite pick last week. I went off on that promo prediction in the video, and they proved me right, kind of, as you said. They should have won that game by 30. They completely dominated, and then every single time they have a chance to score, they just choke. But they still got the job done nonetheless. However, now they're going up to Corvallis at night. Oregon State has got a very good crowd, very loyal fan base. But more importantly, Oregon State is one of the best teams in the country over the last couple of years. At home, they're on a 15-1 against the spread streak. Now you've got a true freshman quarterback in Dante Moore coming in to a team who has got a great defense. Let's not forget, Oregon State played one bad half this entire season. The first half to Washington State, where they allowed 28 points. If they don't have that half and they play how they normally do, they're ranked at the top 10 right now, and this line is probably 7.5. I just think that Oregon State's playing well. I think they've rebounded from that performance against Washington State. They've covered every game on the season except that Washington State game. They're going to get to spread machine. I feel like I've picked them 3 or 4 consecutive weeks on the show. I'm probably going to keep picking them because they keep getting disrespected by these spreads. The 3.5, I feel that extra half points is begging you to take UCLA. Look how good they looked last week. They're ranked now, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Ride Beavers.
You know, it's so interesting. This line opened up at 5 and it's moved a full 1.5. So people are liking UCLA. I don't. I love Oregon State because I think they match up great with UCLA. I think they match up great going against a true freshman quarterback when they get to be the home team. And this is their last hurrah in the Pac-12. This is their last hurrah being nationally relevant. Their coach should be gone next year. A lot of their players might leave for the portal. So love riding Oregon State. I think they're going to finish this year as a top 10 team potentially. So I'm going to wait for this line to drop a little more because if it's already moved to 1.5, it might. And even if it does go back up to 4, 4.5, I don't care. I like giving whatever points it takes to get them because I think they'll win by a touchdown or more. Last, we've got NC State at Duke. Duke is giving 3.5 points. Another night game at Duke. Let me first say, I am taking this with the expectation that Riley Leonard is going to play on Saturday because I don't really know anything about their backup. I know that Riley Leonard had a week to heal up. Don't know what his ankle issue is, but he did have an ankle issue. But regardless, this one's at home. It's at night. It's off a bye week, and Notre Dame won that game on an incredible drive by Sam Hartman that honestly none of us saw coming because it took a 16-yard scramble on 4th down to keep it alive. NC State, a team I actually like. They're 4-2 this year. I like betting on them. They've been pretty good in terms of wins, but they lost to the only 2 good teams they played. They lost to Louisville, and they lost to Notre Dame. Duke is still a top 25 team. Their fans know this is the year to make something happen. So the home crowd's going to make it tough on NC State, just like they did against Clemson and Notre Dame. I'm going to take Duke to bounce back because they're frustrated by the way they lost against Notre Dame.
Yeah, quarterback Brennan Armstrong also missed last week for NC State. So his health is also something to keep an eye on this game. But assuming that both quarterbacks are playing or both aren't, I like Duke. If Armstrong's playing and Leonard's out, it's a different story, but I think that Duke is too well coached. Mike Elko has been a phenomenal coach. I think that, as you said, this is Duke's big time to shine, not only because they're doing so well this year, Leonard's leaving after this year, and Elko is probably going to leave as well. So this is Duke's time to shine. I like them here.
All right, well, thank you for the picks. We got our favorites in. We've got our underdogs in a separate video. I'm hoping we can match last week's energy because we were so damn hot. I won rent money last week, and I'm ready to win it again. Jake, I'll talk to you on Saturday when we get our games going, and I wish you luck.
Sushi money wouldn't hurt, but we want that 6-0 back-to-back.
I'll talk to you soon.